I have known Joe for about 20 years, Joe Poor, and the Pauly jail family. Went through I was elected sheriff in 1998, and I was youngest sheriff in the state of Indiana at the time. Walked into a overcrowded jail. It was probably one of the oldest jails in the state, and we were under a federal consent decree through the Southern District Court of Indiana. We knew we had to do some work, so that was my first order of business. We had a population cap so that we had to stay under. So we had a lot of inmates that were housed outside of our county. So through the process, I got to meet a lot of friends that I see out here. There's so many people, Bob, and that I haven't seen in years, but it's like a family reunion when I come back to this thing. I've been to this seminar at least 4 times, I think. And so just I came when I worked for Ivy Tech just to get up to speed on current technology, especially. This is an ever-changing world we have in corrections, but it's real exciting. And this is ground zero. This is a place to see everything, I think. I want to make a few points, and I'll walk you through the process that I went through when we built our jail. Not every community's the same. This is what worked for us. There's 3 points that I want to make, and first of all, you have to take action. If you have or you see something that is coming down the pike, you have the ACLU knocking at the door, you have attorneys that are going to that have filed a lawsuit or what have you. Don't sit on your hands. Take action. Let people know about it. Get the commissioners and the county council involved, and do it early. The second point is, when you go through your process, don't cut corners, and that's probably why you're here, so you can see what I feel is some of the best equipment out there. And then I want to talk about current trends, how I've made a full circle in my career coming back to corrections. The first point, take action. Once we knew we were close to being in contempt, we started a series of public meetings and got the taxpayers involved and went to every community in our county. We have a small county, but that's the thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to educate our community. We had some experts and consultants come in, and they walked us through it, and they actually moderated the public meetings. We had a few people complain, but they understood this was a need that and we had to do something because we were under the gun. We spent at least 2 years in that process of trying to, make sure that everybody knew what was going on, and we were as transparent as possible. The other thing is we made promises. We promised to our community and our taxpayers we'd build a building that would last. It's like our courthouse. We've got a courthouse that's just absolutely beautiful. Most county courthouses were built to last. So we promised that. We were very fortunate to build on an existing footprint right across from the courthouse. That was a big selling point for us. Our design was adapted to that footprint. And then the last thing that we promised our community and our taxpayers was we would sunset our tax once the bond is, or once the debt is retired. We were able to go to the legislature and get an increase in our cadget tax, and then we were able to fund our project, our jail project. The second point is when I talked about not cutting corners. You may wonder what Joe Poor's secret sauce is. He's had the same team. I've known these guys for 20 years. They're still here. I've seen Willoughby, Trustbill, Old Castle. There's Stanley. There's a lot of Indiana staples there too. But Steel Cell. I've been to their factory, and I know from experience. Going through a project and having a jail that's now 15 years old, that this equipment will stand the test of time. This is a sales pitch. I think a lot of it is for your educational purposes, but it also, these manufacturers aren't BSing you. They do have good stuff. And that's been the secret to Joe's success, is he's had this team, he's put them together, and they're loyal. They're all loyal, and they do not cut corners. Our jail is very well designed, very well built, and the equipment has stood the test of time. My commissioners, through our jail building process, the seminar, and I think during our RFP and identifying the right design engineers and the right firm, our commissioners actually mandated that Pauly Jail would be our vendor, so one of our vendors. So that was part of that, and it was based on coming to these seminars and actually seeing the equipment and hearing the testimonials from other counties and other states. So that was really good. Inmates are hard on equipment, so you want to get stuff that is going to last. The last point I want to make is current trends. So I got elected sheriff. I got elected to a second term, went through a jail project. We got the jail almost completed, and then I went to work for Governor Mitch Daniels and headed up the Department of Natural Resources. I got out of corrections, and I spent 8 years with Mitch, and right after that, I went to work for Ivy Tech Community College, and I spent 4 years at Ivy Tech. So I've been out of it for a long time. Since I stepped away and came back, I mean, something in a I don't know, it's kind of a twisted sort of a way. I love this stuff, and I always thought I'd come back to this, but this correction stuff. But I stepped away and came back, and a lot has changed. I mean, there's been a lot of shifts. It's not real popular with a lot of my sheriff friends, but the sentencing reform that took 3 years to complete has shifted a lot of the offenders from the Department of Corrections, the lower level offenders, to county jails. So that shift has happened. County jails are now looking at, as opposed to hardened cells, looking at programming space. They're looking at different designs now. We have more inmates coming that are bad inmates that are staying longer. So we're needing the old style hardened cells, and Kevin Orm can explain that to you when he talks, but we are in need of that type of cell now. So things have changed so much since I've been away. And there's a lot of construction, but the bottom line is we all need capacity. We all need to think about capacity. The Department of Corrections is going to need capacity. We're going to need future capacity, and we don't know how we're going to do that yet. We've been instructed to try to find different ways to do a capital project without utilizing debt service. So we're looking under every rock and every corner. I can sympathize with my county friends and what they're going through right now too, especially when these issues go to referendum. Some of them have been shot down. I don't know what they're going to do. The last thing you want to do is see a federal judge in Southern District Court especially build a jail for you. It's happened before. Before I became sheriff, Delaware County had a project that was built, and it was under the instruction of a federal judge. So that's not good for you, not good for the taxpayers. But I'd really, I don't have any answers other than we just got to keep looking at capacity. We work well with our sheriffs, and we spend a lot of time studying this and trying to solve problems. The sentencing reform didn't exactly work out the way I think our legislators had intended, so maybe there's going to be a look-back period where we take a look at what is working and what isn't. There's some elements of it that we really like collectively, but there's some elements of it that we don't really care too much for. But either way, I want to leave you with the thought of, if you're going to do it right the first time. Don't try not to cut corners. Make sure you have the best team in place. That's what it's all about. Joe has built a team. He spent years putting together a team. He's got the best bench in the country, hands down. And like I said, this this equipment that these vendors, I know he's up here selling, but yet I think it really sells itself. And I can stand up here as not only a customer and owner, but I can take a look back at my sheriff years and say that, you know, we did it right, and we did it right the first time. The best news of all, we were able to, we slightly overbuilt, but Clay County is really close to the federal prison in Terre Haute, and we were able to contract with them to house some of their offenders and also ICE offenders. And that has made some revenue that was unanticipated, but the bond, the debt service was retired early, and as promised, the debt service came off the tax roll. So very popular, good story to tell the truth, be upfront with your community, be transparent, and do it right. Take your time, don't do it fast, don't shove it down anybody's throat, but I think there's a lot of good stories to tell out here. Thank you.